Morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this morning's Morning 4321. We're going to step away from the book of Psalms for about a week and look at the book of Ruth. So open your Bible to Ruth chapter 1. Let's deal with a narrative and see what we can learn from that. Ruth chapter 1, beginning in verse 1. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. The name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in Judah. They went to the country of Moab and remained there. But Elimelech, the husband of Naomi, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. These took Moabite wives. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth. They lived there about 10 years, and both Mahlon and Chilion died, so that the woman was left without her 2 sons and her husband. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law and returned to the country of Moab. For she had heard in the fields of Moab that the Lord had visited his people and given them food. So she set out from the place where she was with her 2 daughters-in-law, and they went on the way to return to the land of Judah. But Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go, return each of you to her mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead and with me. The Lord grant that you may find rest, each of you in the house of her husband." Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voices and wept. And they said to her, "No, we will return with you to your people." But Naomi said, "Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb, that they may become your husbands? Turn back, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say I have hope, even if I should have a husband this night and should bear you sons, would you therefore wait till they are grown? Would you therefore refrain from marrying? No, my daughters, for it is exceedingly bitter to me for your sake that the hand of the Lord has gone out against me." Then they lifted up their voices and wept again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her, and she said, "See, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law." But Ruth said, "Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord do so to me, and more so, if anything but death parts me from you." And when Naomi saw that she was determined to go with her, she said no more. So the 2 of them went on until they came to Bethlehem. And when they came to Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them. And the women said, "Is this Naomi?" And she said to them, "Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Lord has dealt very bitterly with me. I went away full, the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi, when the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has brought calamity upon me?" So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, with her, who returned from the country of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. Guys, what do you have?
I want to look at really verse 14, where we see this departure of Orpah. It says, "Then they lifted up their voices and wept again. Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her." We see 2 different people in these 2 young ladies from the nation of Moab. They both had set out with Naomi to return to the land, in verse 7. In verse 9, they both expressed affection for Naomi. Verse 10, they made a declaration, "We're going to stick with you." But once Naomi began to describe the hurdles in front of them, one of them turned back. And I think we see in this really 2 kinds of people. And there's a saying that goes, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And what we see here is this divergent pattern between Orpah and Ruth, one who honored her commitment and want to continue on. It's not toughness when it comes to the people of God, it's faith. And faith and honoring your commitment. Ruth, she meant the words that she said, and it no matter the hurdles that faced her, she was going to continue on into the land, unlike Orpah, who turned back. So let's just look at Ruth and learn from her example.
Yeah, and I wanted to notice just here at the end of the chapter, as Naomi and Ruth come back to Bethlehem, and everyone wants to call Naomi, Naomi. And in verse 20, she says, "Don't call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me." And she talks about what God has done. I think it's interesting that Naomi acknowledges the God's work in her life and in her family's life, but I want to notice with you that all she really recognizes is what she sees as God has taken away from her. And it fills her with bitterness. And I just want to make the point for us, there are times in our lives where it feels like, horrible things are happening to us, calamities, whatever it may be. And it may feel like God has left us or God is doing something to us. We need to do what Naomi should have done and remembered what God has done. In those times where it feels like things are going the worst, we need to remember what God has done for us. I just want to encourage us this morning to put our faith in the goodness and the love of God, who always works things out for our good.
Very good. Two really good lessons from this narrative. Maybe you've got something that you saw you'd like to share. Write that down in the comments below. We'd love to see those, interact with you. Be with us tomorrow as we get into Ruth chapter 2. Have a great day, and God bless.